I sit where I always sit. Third chair from the window. The cushion gave up years ago, but I haven't. Not completely. The tea is cold. It always is by the time I remember to drink it. The television flickers in silence, mouthing words I no longer care to hear. They tell me it keeps my brain active. I don't think they understand my brain was never the problem. The house groans in the wind, old bones shifting. Like mine. It's not a bad place, just tired. Dust settles where no one visits. Frames of people I used to mean something to line the shelves, smiling, young, grateful. Before the world changed. Before I was no longer needed. My name is Sharon Miles. 73 years and 100 more in soul. There was a time when my name filled rooms with silence and attention. I signed checks that paid for futures. I shook hands that made men rich. Now I stand too long in the cereal aisle and no one sees me. The clerk chats over my shoulder like I'm furniture. The nurse at the clinic calls me a sweetheart and speaks louder than she needs to. As if being old means being stupid. As if gray hair means absence. My son, Thomas, CEO of something impressive, has no time for lunch. My daughter, Elaine, too busy being enlightened. They call sometimes. 5 minutes. Awkward. Scheduled. Like feeding the cat. My grandkids, they text when their mother reminds them. Hollow words. Empty emojis. I am an obligation, barely. I used to write plans, pitch ventures, and build futures. Now I write in a notebook, mostly to remember why I still do. The pen scratches the same lines, today, tea. Silence. Nothing. Every day, I write it. Every day it feels more like the truth. But here's what no one sees, I do not forget. I watch. I listen. I collect slights like coins in a jar. Not the loud insults, no, the quiet dismissals. The smirks. The yawns. The looks that pass through me like glass. They think I'm gone. They think age took me. Stripped me of relevance. Of sharpness. Of will. They are wrong. There is something deep inside me that still breathes. Not a spark. A coal. Pressure makes it glow. And every condescending smile, every ignored call, every "what was your name again?" It feeds the ember. I haven't spoken of it. Not yet. But I feel it growing. They believe I'm harmless. Finished. Let them believe. I am the shadow in their blind spot. And I have time. They only remember the shell. The man with the cane. The polite nod and tired eyes. But there was a time, not long ago in the story of my bones, when I walked into rooms and changed the weather. I was power. I didn't ask for respect, I defined it. It began in the 80s, in a 2-room office above a dying bookstore. Everyone else said the market was dead, the country was unstable. I said opportunity hides in chaos. And I was right. I built it myself, brick by brick, deal by deal, handshake by blood-stained handshake. When partners betrayed me in 91, I smiled, shook their hands goodbye, and bought the company they thought they stole from me 6 months later. Not with threats. With strategy. I didn't scream. I calculated. I waited. And I struck with precision. In the 90s, when the country buckled under pressure, I didn't run. I put my house on the line. I mortgaged everything to keep the factory open, not for profit, but for the men and women who counted on those paychecks. I fed their families when banks slammed their doors. I paid for my children's education by skipping vacations and sleeping 4 hours a night for 20 years. I remember coming home to paperwork at 2 a.m. My wife asleep, children dreaming. My reward. Watching them graduate without debt. Watching them grow into the lives I gave them. I was a storm held in a suit. And now, they don't even ask how I'm doing. They don't remember those nights. Or the meetings I pulled them through. Or the enemies I shielded them from. They've forgotten the man who held their world together. But I haven't. I sit in this aging chair, yes. I wear sweaters instead of suits. My signature doesn't open doors anymore. But I remember everything, every deal, every betrayal, every debt unpaid. And the worst part. It's not their indifference. It's that they believe the past no longer matters. As if what we've done means nothing, as if time erases meaning. They live like I was never a force. Like I was always weak. Always quiet. Always small. But a man like me doesn't forget what he was. And more importantly, a man like me doesn't stay forgotten forever. Not when the game is still on the board. Not when the pieces are still in play. And not when the architect still breathes. It's never the storm that breaks you. It's the drip. The constant, quiet erosion. The humiliation never arrives in grand gestures. It creeps in like mold behind wallpaper, slow, silent, and rotten. Last Thursday, I called Thomas. Not for money. Not for attention. I just wanted to hear my son's voice. He let it ring. Sent me to voicemail. No return call. Not even a message. 2 days later, I watch him on television. Shaking hands with some minister. Smiling for cameras. Talking about values. I nearly laughed. When I texted my grandson, asking if he could help fix my computer, he replied, "LOL, how to do old PPL stuff." Then sent a meme. Something with a skeleton waiting on a bench. I didn't reply. I just wrote the date down in my notebook. Then, at the clinic, the nurse looked over me like I was laundry left too long. The doctor didn't speak to me, only to her. He's barely hearing. Don't bother explaining. Just increase the dosage. I was sitting right there. I repeated the dosage back to him, correctly. He blinked, surprised. I smiled without warmth. Even in the store, when I dropped a can of beans, no one bent to help. A boy stepped over it. Over me. Like I was a pile of coats on a chair. That's the thing about invisibility, it's not sudden. It grows. People stop seeing you one by one until the whole world passes through you like smoke. But here's what they don't understand. I'm not fog. I'm ice. Still on the surface, deadly underneath. Every dismissal, every patronizing glance, every sigh they think I don't hear, I write them down. My notebook isn't just habit. It's architecture. A map. Names. Places. Events. Digital screenshots. Receipts. I am building something. Quietly. I learned long ago, revenge is not rage. Rage is sloppy. No. Revenge is math. They taught me who they are. Now I return the favor. They call me bitter. No. I am observant. They think I'm broken. No. I am waiting. They believe they've won. But I've only just started to sharpen my tools. This isn't the story of a sad old man. This is the story of a reckoning, engineered from silence. And the dam is starting to crack. It happened on a Monday. They always do. The kind of day where the sky looks as tired as you feel. I was walking back from the store. Slow steps. 2 bags, not heavy, but enough to remind me I was 73. My back twinged. I shifted the weight. One of the plastic handles snapped. The groceries scattered onto the sidewalk, the oranges rolling into the gutter, a jar of jam shattering like a cheap memory. And I bent down, clumsily, knees howling, trying to gather what I could. A group of teenagers walked by. One laughed. "Leave it, Gramps," he said. "Ain't nobody need that stuff anyway." Another murmured, "He looks like one of those, what do they call 'em? Nobodies." And that word, nobody, it didn't just land in my ears. It landed inside my bones. I froze. Kneeling there, among the glass and fruit, I wasn't angry. Not the way people expect. I wasn't shaking or cussing. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. Instead, something inside me clicked. Quietly. Like a gear slotting into place. It was a memory, more than a feeling, the way I used to pause during negotiations. That still moment before I made a move that would ruin someone. The calm before I pulled the string and the puppet collapsed. I stood up. Slowly. Left the groceries behind. They watched me, confused. I didn't look at them. I didn't need to. When I got home, I walked straight to the hall closet. Behind the coats, the good ones, still wrapped in plastic, was the safe. I hadn't opened it in 12 years. The keypad still remembered my fingers. Inside, a black leather notebook, thicker than the one I use now. A prepaid phone, dusty but charged. And the archives, folders of old contacts, alliances, buried leverage. Names from a different life, men who owed me, feared me, respected me. Enemies who lost to me and never forgot it. Assets. Weaknesses. Favors exchanged in the dark. I turned on the phone. No apps. No distractions. Just numbers. Old, dangerous numbers. I picked up the newer notebook, the one with every slight, every insult, and laid it beside the old one. The past was meeting the present. And I was the bridge. I am not the man they laughed at on the street. I am the man who made and unmade fortunes. I am the man who knows where the cracks already exist and how to widen them until the walls fall. The game isn't over. The game just changed hands. They still don't know. That's the beauty of it. When a wolf stops growling, the sheep forget. But I never stopped being a predator, I simply changed my hunt. I no longer walk in front of them. I walk behind. I see everything. I began with Thomas, my son. My legacy. The one who uses words like optimization and scalability, who thinks morality is for speeches and weakness is for retirement homes. His company, polished on the surface, but I knew where the dirt was buried. Years ago, I pulled strings to get him his first investor, a Russian with too many favors owed. I never told Thomas. He never asked. I still had the paperwork. One message, anonymous, strategic, to the right journalist. I included just enough truth to get them digging. Financial ties. Foreign connections. Photos from 15 years ago. 2 weeks later, the scandal. He tried to hold it together. The board turned cold. Investors pulled. His face went gray on television. And I watched from my kitchen, tea in hand. Elaine was next, my daughter of virtue and image. A mental health advocate. The podcast preacher. But I remembered how she made my wife cry. How she called our life a performance built on outdated masculinity. I found the ghostwriter she never paid. Bought the drafts of every speech she never wrote. Then, her timed leak, not through rage, but through influence. Her followers turned. She lost her sponsors in days. And the boy, my grandson, with his smug memes and careless disrespect. He had a sports deal pending, something about clean living and a luxury drink brand. I sent a video, one he forgot existed. Him, drunk at 18. Vaping. Ranting about idiot fans and old losers. The deal evaporated. He posted an apology video. Teary-eyed. Scripted. I watched in silence. Now, the house is different. The phone rings more now. Almost daily. They ask if I'm okay. If I need anything. They talk like it's casual, but I hear the tension. Like people circling a locked room, knowing something inside is watching. I say little. And that silence terrifies them more than any scream. It's not revenge in the way movies teach you. No. This is art. This is control. This is clarity. I don't want their distraction. Just their awareness. I don't want blood. I want recognition. I want them to look in the mirror and see the version of themselves I always saw. And I want them to wonder, who did this? They won't suspect me. They think I'm just an old man, lost in time. Let them. Because in the shadows, I move freely. And from the shadows, I reshape the world they forgot I built. The house feels different now. Not because anything changed inside it, the walls are still cracked, the floor still creaks, the wind still sighs through the thin window frames. But the air carries something new. A heaviness. A recognition. A fear they don't yet know how to name. It begins on a Sunday morning. The doorbell rings. I don't rush. I never rush. When I open the door, they are all there, Thomas, pale and stiff in a suit he didn't iron, Elaine, makeup cracking at the corners of her eyes, the grandchildren behind them, unsure, shifting their weight like children waiting to be scolded. They look smaller than I remember. Or maybe I finally see their true size. We wanted to talk, Thomas says. His voice cracks. I blink slowly, letting him feel the weight of the silence between each second. We sit in the living room. The same living room where I once balanced budgets that saved their futures. The same room where birthdays were celebrated, where laughter once lived. Now, no one laughs. Elaine is the first to break. Dad, she whispers, things have been hard. Really hard. A tremble in her throat. A confession without words. My grandson avoids my eyes, scrolling through his phone as if the screen can protect him. But I see his pupils flick toward me. Half fear. Half guilt. Good. He's learning. They want comfort, reassurance that the bad around them is just coincidence. They want the old man they dismissed and not the architect sitting across from them. But I offer nothing. I just watch. And it hits them, one by one, the realization that I am not broken. I am not confused. I am not harmless. For the first time in years, they see me. Not as a burden. Not as a relic. As presence. Power without noise. Thomas clears his throat. Dad, we should spend more time together. We didn't realize. He can't finish the sentence. But I can finish it for him. They didn't realize I was still alive. Not alive in the breathing sense, anyone can breathe. No. Alive in the way that matters, aware, strategic, unsoftened by pity. My granddaughter reaches for my hand. It's the first time she's touched me in years. Are you okay, Grandpa? I nod. Slowly. Measured. And her breath shudders in relief, too relieved. As if she feared a different answer. For a long moment, no one speaks. The silence stretches, thick and instructive. A silence that teaches what words cannot. Then I stand. My joints crack softly, the only sound in the room. I walk to my desk, open my notebook, and write a single sentence. Old age is not weakness. It is clarity. I leave the page open where they can see it. I do not explain it. They do not ask. They just watch me. Really watch me. For the first time in a decade, I feel their eyes, wide, uncertain, humbled. I close the notebook, slow and final. No anger. No apologies. No forgiveness. Just the truth, the kind that lingers, the kind that reshapes families and futures. When they leave, the door shuts gently behind them. And for a moment, the house is quiet. Still. But it is not the silence of loneliness. It is the silence of completion. The storm has passed. Not with thunder. Not with fire. But with understanding. I sit down in my old chair, the one with the tired cushion, and allow myself a small, private smile. Not of victory. Of wisdom. Old age is not the end. It is the final stage of power, the stage where you see everything clearly and act without shaking. A stage they never expected. A stage they will never forget. And I, the shadow, the architect, the patient storm, finally rest. Not forgiven, but understood. And that is enough.
Subscribe and like. And tell your friends about this video.